Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you're watching this. I get to spend a few more minutes here with Antimo Cimino, talking about our exciting Cultural Global Labs event in Lecce, Italy this coming June. There's a lot of stuff that we need to chat about today, Antimo, to give everybody kind of a catch up and an update on latest events. So tell me kind of the Reader's Digest version of what's going on.
Well, let's keep this positive. First of all, we are very happy to see actually that the response has been amazing throughout the last couple of months between the interviews of the presenters, therefore giving people a little bit more of background about who they are, what their passion is, the content of the class. We've also received a lot of inquiries about the format. And I think the format is what we're particularly proud about because we're really launching something new, launching something that is not a conference, but it's actually a learning environment that has a framework around it, that has components of wellness, the components of focusing on a workshop of your choice for 3 days, and then application of theory into practice in the culture, and finally, the icing on the cake of this day spent about open space. So this is a really very innovative and a pilot for us, but it's been really positive what we've been hearing about people.
And it's also really consistent with who you are and how you lead your life. I mean, if you talk about Vumago, your travel company, as a travel consultant, you are all about experiential travel. You're all about connecting in meaningful ways with the culture that's being visited. And in the context of Cultural Global Labs, the key word is labs. I mean, yes, multiculturalism is what we're all about, but the labs implies we want to take these concepts and principles and actually put them into practice, not simply when you go back home, but right there at the event with the leaders that are presenting this great information and as a group, as a collective.
Yeah, the labs also implies another thing in terms of the learning. We know that we're going to be attracted professionals who have immense knowledge and experience. There's going to be professionals from all kinds of fields, academics, corporate, non-profit, all with their unique experience, and bringing that into the classroom setting and learning environment is a value add, because by contributing their experience, and the faculty facilitating the learning in the classroom can really exponentiate to a really transformative experience, if you will. But then with the fifth day, where we have this open environment where you choose to discuss certain topics that you'd like to delve more into, it provides another layer of safe environment for sharing, for working together, connecting with people, breakthroughs, new ideas, new connections to be made. So that's what I think we're particularly proud about.
The power of the collective, really exciting. And I hope people take a chance to watch the interview with Suzanne Taylor that has been published recently. Her work is really groundbreaking and I think brilliant, as it takes the concept of initiative. You have to take your own initiative to participate, but it also benefits from the power of collective, different people coming together in a collaborative environment and sharing their insights that they've gleaned from 3 days of workshop and now other days of experience in the field in Lecce.
And I'll add also the power of vulnerability, because whether you are a manager, a CEO, leading amazing teams and organizations, and you have so much, it's also nice to be vulnerable and say, there are things I don't know. There is things that I'm looking forward to hearing from other experts like me that I may be interested in collaborating with, etc. So I don't know what I don't know is like the real aha moment in some ways, if you will.
And it's critical that vulnerability is the first of our 5 pillars. And I think if I could add an exclamation point to vulnerability, it would be vulnerability with empathy. Hopefully I receive empathy from you when I'm vulnerable, because it exposes me at a kind of a sacred place. And then as I hear other people get really transparent about where they're at and the things they've dealt with, practicing empathy is critically important as you move through the progression of vulnerability, story, connectedness, transformation, and growth. Let's talk for a minute about the elephant in the room. Of course, we're talking about an amazing event in Lecce, Italy. And unfortunately, the world really has been affected by the possibility of major medical issues in various countries with the coronavirus. Let's talk about that for a minute and provide some perspective for people who are considering
Yeah.
registering and attending and the concerns they might have.
Yeah, so there is lots of information out there. Social media is Pandora box at the same time. There is the good, the bad, the made up, the fear, all of that. To be of justice to the people particularly interested in cultural global labs in Lecce, I am keeping a close channel of communication with my locals there, my family, my best friends, the hotel, etc. And we know that in Puglia, the cases are very, very few. There is really no much worry about, this escalating. Milan, where the focus of the cases in Italy is literally 12 hours drive from
And
there.
an incredibly dense population.
And very dense population. So we're talking about very southern Italian part of Italy, and not much is going on there in terms of this hype about coronavirus. Of course, things can change. I encourage everybody to always check the most reliable site, like the CDC is one. And yes, there is a sense that corporations are limiting travel to countries such as Korea, Italy, China, etc. But I also feel that the event isn't until the mid of June. So there is really a lot of time. And I encourage everybody to think about the fact that it's in the best interest of big organizations and countries to give money for research so that we find ways to cope with this new outbreak of an influenza, because it literally is a kind of influenza that we need to understand more about.
This is the perspective that I think is really important, Antimo, that I've shared with a lot of people in my sphere, and that is, it's not just corporations that are affected in the pocketbook by the limitations that have occurred. It's nation states who have a huge multi-trillion-dollar vested interest in finding solutions and resolution. And that says nothing to diminish the pain of people who are firsthand experiencing consequence as a result of this serious medical issue. But I think there's a collective mindset in nation states and corporations to spend whatever is necessary to find a solution and move forward, because it will affect global commerce in a major way. And whether we like it or not, global commerce will drive the solution much more rapidly than our good intentions.
So I hope we're seeing the trend of actually slowly increasing registration. So we are very encouraged by that. We're thrilled to see actually who's coming. There are a really good cross pollination, I guess, of academics, corporate, universities from countries such as Canada, US, Japan, Africa. So we are really very excited about all of this. And many of the participants that are already registered are like, hey, I'm considering this as things will improve, nothing to worry about. I am making my plans. There is always, of course, the option to withdraw. But let's keep the enthusiasm up. I strongly encourage you to sign up, to make a choice, and probably and likely in the next month or so, we'll see even a drop in the cost of flights, which could be another advantage toward our event. Keeping an open mind, not going to this state of major fear, I think it's a healthy way to look at things overall.
Avoiding panic, being prepared and being aware, and maybe that's a good segue into our final comments about travel insurance. I know as a travel consultant with Vumago, you highly recommend, if not require, your clients to have travel insurance because of the unforeseen. And in light of coronavirus or any other potential issues that could come up, travel insurance is almost always a good idea, whether you source it through your own private carrier or one that's recommended.
Absolutely. And this proves it that when one thinks, oh, it's okay, I traveled so much, nothing has ever happened. Well, nobody anticipated this. And yet I will tell you that it's not possible, no matter where you search, who you contact, there is not one insurance that is covering per se coronavirus. However, the one only advice that I have for anybody traveling for whatever reason is within the days that you've decided you're going to do that, and you're buying your flight and you're committing with a deposit, is within 14 to 21 days to buy what's called a cancel for any reason. In particular, for those attending Cultural Global Labs, please contact us because we have a specific entity that we're working with to help you through this. And honestly, it's well worth it spending a little bit more and have that peace of mind added to, just not worrying and stressing unnecessarily about.
So here's some key action items. Remain positive, because we believe that we'll see you there in June, and we're excited for this collection, this collaboration of people and ideas. 2, stay informed, be aware of what's going on. And 3, be prepared. Buy travel insurance. It does cost a couple of dollars, but it also creates tremendous peace of mind for knowing that regardless of this issue or some weather calamity or something like that, you are protected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We are moving forward as a team, as if we're not hesitating. We're not contemplating alternatives. We are moving forward as if we're going to be there in June, and we're making plans to that end. So I'm excited. I know you are. Lori is excited, and we're having a ball with our presenters, interviewing them and hearing more of their story. And yeah, every day we hear news of more people who are interested and or registering. So thank you for your
see you there.
yes, thank you for your time, Antimo.
Absolutely.